Hey guys, we're going to be doing a circuit around Southend Airport, which is Echo Golf Mike Charlie. We're using the Carenado Cessna 152. There'll be no radio calls or anything like that. I'm using TrackIR. I'm pretty new to TrackIR, so the head movements are probably going to be pretty bad, and I haven't fiddled with it very much. But yeah, so let's get cracking. I have real Cessna checklists, so I'm going to go through these. Yeah, so I'm going to start on the internal checklist. Seat adjusted and secured, hatches and harnesses adjusted and secured, parking brake is already on, radio and avionics are off, instruments undamaged, legible and secure. We're going to check the airspeed is 0, the altitude, we're going to use B for this. You could actually use the knob, but I use B on Flight Simulator because I don't know the Q&H yet anyway. We're not using our VOR, we're not using our ADF. The vertical speed is 0, heading indicator is run by the engine, ball is in the middle and the wings are level. Flying controls. Full and free movement. Trim set neutral. Trim is neutral. Cabin heat is off. Set closed. Mixture full and free movement, and we need to set that to rich. So that's on rich. Carburetor heat. Full and free movement. Set that to cold, and we'll set throttle to 1/4 of an inch open. The throttle nut is not simulated. Carburetor heat magnetos. The magnetos are off and the master switches can go on. Fuel clock. The Carenado Cessna 152. I can't find the fuel clock on here. It should be there, but it is not. We'll turn the beacon on. Beacon is on. Primer is required and locked, so we're going to do 3 primes. 2, 3, and you would twist it to lock it in position. Lookout, careful all around lookout, so we're going to look around, make sure there's no people behind us, no vehicles, nothing like that, and we're all good. If you're wondering why I'm on the grass, the default airport for Southend doesn't have any scenery here. This is actually where my real flight club is at Southend, just nearby holding point Alpha, which is over there to the north. Yeah, so I'm actually just on the grass, and we open the window and we shout clear prop. I'm not going to make myself sound stupid on the recording, but yeah, clear prop, blah blah. And the magnetos, we key in and operate star. So let's do that right now. Let's take away the red writing and the bar. Center my TrackIR. There we go, and we'll set the RPM to 1,200, which is the RPM is really hard to be accurate with because the Cytec throttle is a bit jittery, so that's not going to be very accurate, and same for the braking. Oil pressure raising to the green arc within 30 seconds. Let's just enter in the green arc. Starter warning light is out. Yep, that's out. Ammeter. Oops, can I get there? No. The ammeter's right on the far right, and that's reading 0. It's not negative, it's reading 0 or positive. Suction registering correctly. We're looking between 3 and 5 inches. Right there. That's between 4 and 5, that's good. Magnetos, check for dead car. So basically all we do, instead of using the numbers, that's how I've been taught, right now the magnetos are on both, so we switch it to the left, RPM will drop slightly, that's audible as well, back to both, RPM rises, back to right, RPM drops, back to both, and all is audible, and you can actually read that on the RPM gauge. Magnetos flaps are already up. Should probably pause my TrackIR while I'm reading the checklist. Instruments set as required. So right now we're going to tune into ADIS. ADIS frequency is incorrect. Real life I think it's 133 or something like that. But on Flight Simulator it's 121.800, so we're going to set that on COM 1800. Airport information Romeo. We've got 267 at 6. 20 miles, sky condition 4000. Yep, it's alright. It's giving me an American reading, that's great. 2906, and that's already set on the altimeter. I'm going to set that back to tower, which is 127.725. 7725, that's it. Close that. Okay, so we've got our information Romeo, wind is 267 at 6. Then we do our radio call, etc. before we taxi. I keep coughing on the recording, that's lovely. Okay, so quick look out, make sure there's no one here. Chop anyone's head off. And then we'll do our taxi, and that consists of check our brakes and we'll make sure check the turns in the DI, etc. And we will do our VOR and ADF tracking, we're not doing that. It's not instrument flight. Take our brakes off, just quickly check transponders on 7000. We can set that to standby. Okay, we're good to go. Let's see if this will actually taxi properly. There we go, about 1200. It's really hard to keep your head out of the cockpit on Flight Simulator. I do try. Okay, there's the taxiway. It's hard to perceive the speed. That's the way. I'm pretty bad at taxiing in real life anyway. But, it doesn't help playing Flight Simulator. I think it's a bit too fast. Okay. So here's where we intercept taxiway. I think it's Alpha. I could check. I'm lazy right now. There's no ATC or anything. Then we're coming up on holding point Alpha for runway 24. And we're going to take off runway 24, and it will be a right hand circuit with a full stop landing. I'm going to skip the power checks of Flight Simulator because they're horribly simulated. If you hold your brakes and rev up to 1700 RPM, you will just fly forward. Yeah, that's Alpha. Okay, let's come up to the holding point. Yeah, drop pencil. There we go. Brakes on 1200. Give me 1200, please. That's about that's enough. Okay. Already done our brake checks. We already know they work. Pre-takeoff checks. Trimmer set for takeoff. In real life, you can leave it, but on Flight Sim I usually set it back a little bit. Throttle friction nut is not simulated. Mixture is rich. Magnetos are on both. Master switch is on. Pitot heater is off. Primer is in and locked. We would pull it. Not sure it doesn't come out. Fuel on check quantity. They're pretty much full. It's about 3 hours flight in the Cessna 152. Flaps are up for takeoff. It's a nice long runway. Instruments and gauges checked and set. Didn't write down QNH. That's awesome. USB. Airspeed 0. Official horizon is reading level, and we have wings level, ball in the middle. And I think that's 005 on the heading, 005 on the compass. That's good. We'll also set the transponder to ALT. Hatches fastened and secure. Harnesses, doors and windows are secure. Carburetor heat is cold, and we're going to do another control check. Left, up, right, down, centre, full and free movement. Then we have, well, we imagine we have clearance, and we'd also check if there's any planes on final approach or on the runway. Then we can pull up onto the runway. Okay. There we go. Keep your eye on the approach. Okay. God, I hate taxi on flight sim. Feels so wrong. Okay, we're lined up. Terrible braking, as usual. Stretch the neck, nice. Okay, 2-4 on the heading indicator, 2-4 on the compass, and 2-4 is the runway. We're going to check that. And we're good for takeoff. Smoothly increase. Wind is that way. Oops, bit back pressure. Full throttle. And airspeed is active. Squeeze the bad TrackIR movements. Okay, the 60 knots. And looking for the horizon. Okay, so if you're looking at the horizon on takeoff, we'll be should increase to about 80 knots climb. And the wind is from the west, so we're gonna fly on heading of about 245. A bit. Oh wow. Great wind simulation. ETC hate me. Okay, so we're going to climb to 600 feet, and at 600 feet we're going to turn onto right crosswind. That's a runway. Southend, awesome scenery. Oh no. Don't wait. Okay, 600 feet, so we can start our right turn. And we could turn our landing light off, but we're not because we're in the circuit. If it was a proper flight, I guess we could turn it off. But we're not. If we had flaps, we don't have flaps, which is rich, etc. Keep having to reset the TrackIR. Okay, that's yep. There's our right crosswind, climbing to 1,050 feet. That's 1,000 feet above aerodrome level. Southend is 49 feet. So there's 1,000 feet. Oh, my neck. Okay, there's 1,050 feet. Apogee trim, 2,300 RPM. It's preset for 152. And we can turn right downwind. I'm doing nice smooth turns. There's a Wilson. And we're going to try and look where we're going. It's a bit difficult on flight sim. When you have a gyro TrackIR, and it hurts your neck to move. Like 2400. Okay, now we're on right downwind. I would call downwind. Go from like Echo. Downwind, full stop. So, full stop, I think so. Everyone does it differently. So we can begin our landing checks right here. Check our brakes. Undercarriage is fixed. Mixture is rich. Mags are both. Master switch is on. No propeller control. Flaps are up. Fuel is sufficient for a go around. Instruments, T's and P's are in the green. Meter charging, suctions registering at 5 psi. our carburetor heat. Set that to hot for 13 seconds. We have an RPM drop, and that's audible. And harnesses and hatches are secure. And the lights have our landing light already on. Oh god, we don't. Oh, don't do your checklist properly. I didn't. Okay. Car heat back to cold. Okay, so we're going to slow down to the white arc on the S-speed indicator, so we can drop our flaps, and we're going to begin our turn onto right base. Send to about 800 feet. Yeah, situational awareness and flight sim is an all-time low, as usual. There's a runway, there it is. Yep. Roll out. There's the flaps. And we can set that to 2 degrees, nose down, going for a 65 knots approach speed. No more than 20 degrees of bank. Overshoot it like a boss. And power, keep that at 65 knots. Don't want to overcorrect it. Just turn in a bit and we'll land. Okay, it's 2 reds, 2 whites. Add power to keep on the glide slope. We'll try and hold 65 knots with the pitch. Obviously I'm at 70 knots. Sounds terrible. There we go. And we'd call finals, go for like a go finals, okay to make, etc. Get struck out off and go low. There we go. Good concentration. Gentle. There we go. Go down. Let's keep the nose wheel off the ground. We're going to brake. And we've got full back pressure, yep. Keep the engine power up. Turn around, differential brakes. There we go. And yeah, taxi a tiny bit faster than normal. I mean, it depends on the situation, but you're still on an active runway, and you want to minimise your time on it, I guess. I mean, you don't want to take off again, but yeah. So we're going to turn off at Alpha, taxi back to the place where I was. I need to get used to TrackIR. Feels strange. Okay, here's Alpha. Let's start braking. Now we've vacated the runway. Well, not fully, but let's wait until we reach the holding point to do our checks. And one thing sometimes I or other people forget is you want to stop. You don't want to be doing your checks while you're moving, because then you might lose track of your speed, go into another aircraft, not see an animal, something like along those lines. Get off there so if you stop. Okay, let's get the flaps up. Okay, after landing checklist, carburetor heat is cold. Flaps are up, throttle friction up, not simulated. Radio, nav aids and electrics, non-essentials off. So we can turn our landing light off and we can set the transponder back to standby. And the trimmer, neutral, there we go, neutral, and go again. I forgot to set the RPM to 1-200 while we were idle, but you learn from mistakes, okay. Yep, there's a lot more instrument steering in flight sim, and we want to turn off here. Then we're going to do a 180 turn to park in between two tyres, which aren't here. Okay, 1-200. Shutdown checklist. Location and not obstructing. Into wind, nose wheel straight. The nose wheel is straight. Oh, that's not simulated on flight sim either. Parking brake on. Engine 1-200 for 30 seconds. Yeah, that'll be enough. Magnetos check for dead cuts. So, left RPM drops and it's audible drop. Back to both. RPM rises. Right, RPM drops, audible drop, both, RPM rises. Radio and nav aids off, so I can turn these off. Does it let you turn them off? No. Great job, Carenado. Magneto check them. Throttle close, mixture, idle cut off, fully lean. And wait for the propeller to stop. And then we set the magnetos to off. Electrics and master switch can go off. Let's turn the beacon and the navs off. Master switches are off. Transponders, actually, set that to off. Fuel clock, can't see that in this plane. Control lock, and that's not simulated. So there we go. That's a basic right hand traffic pattern. In a Carenado Cessna 152, I was using real world procedures. I'm a student pilot, so I'm still learning myself. As always, flight simulator is just a simulation, so not everything's correct, and things like that. So, yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.